Rabbit Hole Podcast, episode 23, and we're one woman down.
23 and just 2.
Damn.
There's no X2 thing. It's just us 2 and no Cat.
We've done without Kat for a while, but like once she came in, it's just hard to not have like a.
It just felt really nice to have an ally. Let's be real, people.
All
Let's,
right,
you know,
you know what?
it's
Now we're back on.
our fans know what we're talking about. Shout out to Irene
on the OnlyFans. But it was my birthday this week.
Happy birthday to him.
Thank you. I'm not gonna. I'm like 25 years old. 21.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I mean, don't I look it? Come on.
23 and him. You know. Yeah.
But yeah, we went out on a break to a coastal town, and like I think we were feeling a little bit burnt out, so we come back sun-kissed, a little bit more tanned, maybe a little bit more food in the belly, but a bit more relaxed, right?
Yeah.
If you're feeling a bit down, like a bit burned out, the rest is important.
You
take your leave if you have your
need
leave.
to take your leave.
Yep.
You need to plan. I truly respect those who plan their things in advance, knowing that how the year is going to go and what you're going to need. Like this was a really nice timed pit stop before the end of the year.
Pit stop, man. The end of the year. So at this rate, the last episode will be 25. No. Actually, no. Well, it depends.
It'll be 30, right? I reckon. I'm going to throw a wild number there. No, it'll be.
We'll check it out because I think once it gets to silly season, we might not be able to do this one week. Anyway, let's see.
Yeah.
Let's start. There has been a lot happening this week. We got a distinctly localized flavor, but look, let's start with the block finale. We're a little bit late. Hopefully the traffic comes good on this one, but. Yeah. Let's talk about it because you and I wouldn't say we're block fanatics, but in the past we've watched it in its entirety. We watched the first episode and I'm like, this is not happening. It's, you know what? It's for something as big as the block, and we had this with MasterChef.
Yeah.
You really got to love it because it's a commitment at time, right?
It's a commitment for sure. And it's also, perhaps it's a state of mind. I don't know. Because when we got into it, obviously we were in the building phase. And so there's a lot of research, you could say, that takes place. And
the block is just real estate porn, though.
Inspo.
Yeah,
you know?
That inspo, right?
And in the earlier seasons, which I've seen like bits and pieces of them, it actually felt, you know, the quintessential true blue building the dream home within the right means. And then all of a sudden, like with everything, it's just gotten
out of control,
supercharged to the max. Everyone's a pro all of a sudden. Terrazzo everywhere.
Terrazzo's good though. Terrazzo's good.
Terrazzo's beautiful. Or veiny, bloody. What do we call the blue vein cheese type of
blue cheese,
like
blue
the
cheese,
granite or
blue cheese Caesar stone?
Yeah, Caesar. Thank you very much. Not sponsored.
Yeah, not yet. Could be.
You know what? Remember when we checked out those display homes and we checked out one and it had like a laundry chute. That was like that was the top echelon for me back in those days.
Let's get back to the block.
It's just now all of a sudden this season they've got like a rotating driveway with a car that's being featured. Does not make any sense. Why would you ever want to feature your car in that manner? It actually is not fiscally responsible.
Which is all to say, we didn't watch it in its entirety. You were tuning in the socials here and there, so you got a view.
Let's harking back to your point about not like watching the first episode and you're like, nah, this is not it for me.
Yep.
I think Channel 9.
Though, man.
I'm talking to you.
Here we go. You tell him.
You did a great thing last season in having a cultural diverse, and even the season prior, where it had, I can't remember their names, but it was a couple from Western Sydney represent, and they were lovely. You know, so what about the hoo-ha about, it's hilarious. I actually don't remember their names anymore, but we had the Indian couple who was touted to be the bad egg of that season because of the reactions and everything and all that jazz, right? But all of a sudden, we've gone back to look, let's be real. So what, Steph and Gian are what? I'm assuming Italian or some Eastern European vibe.
Yep.
But largely, I'm sorry, I got to say it.
It's a predominant white cast. All right, move on. Like, we're here. We didn't like it. We didn't have enough. Like, there's not diversity of characters. It just didn't feel like something we could watch.
I was getting into the crux of it. I just feel really passionate about this.
Yeah.
But lo and behold, there was drama and
Yeah.
whatnot, which then like potentially has fueled the outcomes and, he said, she said, blah, blah, blah. But it was interesting. That did play into, I guess, the sizzling bit of
It is.
the final auction
All
order.
right, let's talk about the auction. We'll go house by house. Yep.
Are we going house by house
Yeah,
in
we're going
order?
house by house. I'll give the names of the people and you talk about it. So house 4, Steph and Gian. Obviously, like we watched the final episode. This was the house, right? Everyone wanted this house. What is it, Japandi? Like, what is Japandi, bro? Anyway,
It's Japanese and
it's
Scandinavian.
some made up bullshit.
I think
right.
the
it looked good.
The really good thing about this is that it was a cohesive look
Yeah.
throughout the house.
Yeah.
And
Well-
it's also, let's be real, you look at all kind of the movies where it does have that minimalistic look. Very, cha-ching. Cha-ching.
Japan's in, all right? Okay, so
Cha-ching.
the reserve was 3.350. Yep,
Yeah.
3.35 million. Let's just call it that. And it's sold for 5 million. Good on them. They made 1.65.
I believe it's one of the bigger houses on the block this season as well.
Is that the most of
It is.
'cause it beat the boys,
they
right?
Have beat the boys from last season. Yeah.
like good on them. It's it's not
Omar
as
and
big.
Oz.
Yeah, Omar and Oz. It's
Remember
not
that
as big a house as Omar and Oz's house. But look, that's fine. But we've got to talk about the suspect. Listen, this is where like you're talking about the block just what's the word, bro? What's
As a
the
casual
phrase?
viewer.
It's a casual viewer, but like just getting out of touch, right? Okay, because a lot of people that watch the
Wait,
block.
I'm getting out of touch.
Oh, we can talk about no, the block,
Wow.
the block to its viewers, right? It's meant to be a realistic view, obviously, with like showbiz elements on like real estate, home reno, etc., etc.
Now
right?
it's bloody Lux listings.
So again, we came in. So we have Adrian what's his name?
Portelli.
Okay, I mean we know who this guy is, right? But
From
like
last season.
he comes in, okay, and obviously he was infamous for, he's interesting. Let's call it what it is. Suspect bidding processes here, and he continued it versing his old adversary. I have a feeling that these two guys are in bloody cahoots, with Channel 9. Like, what's the software guy? Danny Waller, right?
Danny Wallace.
Danny Wallace comes in and he puts in an initial bid
Which is
of
the OG.
the OG peacocker.
3.99999.
And you were saying it was meant to be 2 point.
It was supposed to be 2.9, which I don't know how you
I don't get it.
kerfuffle
Nah,
that
I'm sorry,
number.
buddy. Dyslexic. It's dyslexic. He tricked his own self, right?
He got too mixed up in the numbers, too caught up.
And then Adrian goes straight to 5 mil.
Gotta want
This
it, I
makes
guess.
no sense. This makes no sense. Look, like I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to bash on this guy because, like, what does he do? How does Adrian Portelli?
Okay, so he on Instagram he lists himself as Gold Coast Melbourne Capital, so like investments, property investor director. So he's got a couple of companies, LMCT, which
is what he was wearing on his t-shirt and all this stuff. Yeah, he was pushing that.
Flipside Energy and Let's G Up. He's a 34-year-old car enthusiast and online promotions guru.
Okay, listen, that just says it all, and I knew it. Like, don't smash me in the comments for not for hitting this guy. He does good things, right? Yeah, I guess what I'm saying is.
What do you mean he does the good things?
Well,
Sorry.
like I've seen like the prizes and stuff. I've seen his Instagram as well. He helps people out, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I don't know if he's a philanthropist, but like I'm just saying that he's not like a douche or any. Well, anyway, what I'm saying is in the context of this show, in the context of bidding of the houses and stuff like that, this is a scene that happens in Australia all the time.
the
auction process, and it is very stressful. And I guess just say you weren't part of like an auction dynamic and you didn't know it, you would think that this is not normal behavior. 3.9 was the initial bid.
3.9
4 mil, rounded up to 4 mil.
Yeah.
And he goes from that to 5 mil straight away.
Bang.
I know this is a show. I know we want the pompous there, but like as we'll talk in the next couple of houses, what happened is for the last 3 houses, the difference was so stark when they didn't get these two bidding effectively, but also they'd come from the high that their contestants had. And granted, the first two houses were obviously the two most desirable houses in the show. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So maybe we expected it here, but let's just say progressively the bids were realistic. Let's say Portelli won it at 4.5 mil, and he did it in as a normal consumer would increment, right? Like
Yes.
not just going from 4 mil to 1 mil, right? Then maybe you're selling an expectation of what it is. And can you imagine, by the way, the auctioneers who are in the market and are doing this and are saying, what the hell is going on? Because they've never seen it. And he is honoring these purchases because like he did it last year as well. I don't think he's going to, because remember one year they had this software lady entrepreneur who bought the house and she didn't end up paying for it, right? Like there was
Yeah,
that
she was,
kerfuffle on it,
yeah.
right? So I'm pretty sure he's good for the money. That's not what I'm saying. He's buying it for the competition, whatever, depreciation, which actually, when I see these auctioneers talk about these houses, beautiful houses, which the contestants are painstakingly spending, you're nodding, a lot of time for families, right? They're
Yeah.
doing it for families. Yeah. And then when I hear the auctioneers talk about it as a depreciating asset, to me, it's just so out of touch with the Australian public, what people are going through in losing houses with the interest rate there. I don't know, man. Like, am I just hori-tori, downy-downy? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I know it's entertainment. I know this, I mean, it gives us stuff to talk about. Like, don't get me wrong. But that's what happened in House 1. Do you have anything to talk about, before I move on to the second house?
Well,
Steph and Gian?
Well, one, I love the house. I think
is great.
I think it was quite beautiful.
Do we, it's maybe 5 mil. Look, all of these houses were selling way above board anyway, right?
Well, yeah.
Like,
based on
because
their
of the
reserve.
marketing, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah, and these guys are just judging it out. So I'm not, I'm happy that they got 1.6 and sold for 5 mil. I'm just saying that, this is an unrealistic expectation of how an auction goes. Probably but it's stupid. Like, it gets to a point where next year when we're watching it, right?
Yeah.
Adrian's going to be there like, oh, look at this bloke. He's going to do something silly, to a point where, these contestants are going to be frothing over this guy when he comes over. You know what I mean? It's just,
It's
it creates
building
this
up.
weird dynamic.
It's building up the clout because previously Danny Wallace was that guy.
I don't like-
with the
yeah.
random numbers, but also he is in a similar game of investments and giving houses to. I think he also does that for Ronald McDonald.
They're all
houses
doing
and
it. Yeah,
whatnot.
yeah. Look,
Which is lovely. And there's got to be throughout the episode, and we'll talk more in detail about it, but there was the toing and froing between the two, and it kind of felt like the old and the new guard, where it's kind of
peacockers.
You
That's
know,
what it
it's
is.
just like the young bloods coming up and making these choices, which the reason why I was nodding earlier is because I just read some intel. I'm like, yes, that makes a whole lot more sense.
what did you read?
Well, let's go to first House 5, and then I might do a summary commentary on it.
House 5, Eliza and Liberty, media chicks. I felt happy for them because
The reason why they're media chicks,
Yeah.
I can't remember which one it is. It's the shorter one. She used to be I think production assistant for Hamish and Andy back in the day, and there was a whole lot of drama about maybe Hamish and Andy are gonna
Buy a house.
buy the house and
Yeah,
everything
yeah.
like that. And it's really interesting to think that you'd go that far to think that
listen,
to win the competition.
Lucky for her, they didn't, because Adrian clearly has more money. But same thing happened here.
Even more ridiculous.
Danny starts the bid. Adrian ends up winning the bid. But explain what happened, because I'm still just, what the hell?
I think if I'm not mistaken, Danny started the bid again at the same price again, which was really interesting. And then all of a sudden, what's his face? Adrian, he does a bid.
This
right?
Joker bid himself up, basically.
But then he bids himself
by
up
100K,
twice.
by 200K, effectively.
And it kind of felt like this weird analogy of kind of like chicken, but it's like that threat. Like, when you're playing it with your hands like this, Bubs, with your hands here, it's like you're doing the fake out.
Yeah. Look, the first 100 maybe, but even then he didn't. The second 100 was just complete brag.
Why?
It makes no sense.
Makes no sense.
It just makes no sense.
It's now real peacocking, if we're going to be honest, right?
That's what it is.
And it's kind of thinking you thought that I was a fake. It's like,
Well,
let me hit you with the good one. I'm going to go again. Another one. Another one. Surely, right?
Again, happy for these girls. Listen, they're in media. I know people that work in media. They would make, no way they'll make this sort of money, right? Good on them, right? Like happy,
And
but just it's. I think I saw. Sorry.
Yeah.
I think I saw a clip where the camera was panning away from the realtor.
Yeah.
His head was in disbelief, like of how nuts this whole process was. Again, I get it's a show, but it's like now so off kilter.
Yeah.
That I'm not gonna like. And Scotty was saying like he's never seen this because it's
something
not
like this.
normal. This is how not people that are spending their own money buying these houses, which it should be. They should be realistically priced for people that actual home. How nice would it be to actually see a family buy that? You see the family there. You see the kid walk into like the playroom.
But what family is going to buy, like have
That's
that
what I'm
now?
saying.
Like
Out
it's,
of touch. They know roughly what this time around they had what the facade would look like, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they already know what it looks like.
Yeah.
MasterChef, I know they have to make money. I'm just saying that it's very out of touch. I don't like.
it's also interesting when you're saying about money as well, because obviously the contestants,
Yeah.
they would win all of their winnings that are above reserve price, apparently tax free, which is nuts.
I didn't know that. I really didn't know that.
And so we've got in this season, we've got effectively two couples or pairings that are millionaires that come out of this.
No.
right?
The girls were 800.
No, they got one.
Oh yeah, they got a mil.
They got 1 mil.
Jeez, good on
Yeah.
them.
So splitting the winnings. I believe one
Well,
of
they
them
got
said it was
800 until this guy bid himself
himself
up to it.
and which.
Yeah, it makes no sense. Okay.
And I think there was some commentary where she was saying something to the effect of many people of the public were saying to the effect of because they're actually really good contestants. They were really lovely.
No one's gonna
willing
give
to
you-
help,
yes,
etc.,
like,
etc.
whatever. Yeah.
It's a bit iffy. But what's great about that as well, I think, another offshoot of, I guess, what any reality TV show can do for you, right? It's literally the launch pad to a career in media or to the next business. I believe Steph and Gian have got their own Japandy, I think
Line
it's
or
like
some
homeware or something now. And obviously the girls will be doing something, they could easily probably
Media
be like,
Thursdays.
what a time.
How about you bring it back?
What a throwback at Hugo's. Oof.
alright, Pete. It's
Not
alright.
yet, not sponsored.
It's alright.
But obviously they'll probably go into media themselves because they're the bubbly girls and whatnot. So there's that piece as well. And I was just reading before, I guess, contributing to the hype for these two houses. One, I believe they're the two biggest houses. Two, they have a striking kind of effect in comparison, and maybe it is that halo piece of, they were the lovely contestants in comparison to the others, except I will say the couple from WA were lovely too, and it would be nice because they're an actual family, right? They have actual kids and all of the other the attachment that you were speaking of, right? I was just researching very quickly. So on REA, confirming that there was a lot of conjecture and kind of speculation from investors of saying that 4 and 5 had the more appeal from an investor point of view.
Yep.
And so I was just trying to understand, why is it that these two powerhouses, like Husey was even there, but Husey couldn't play
was
in
there
the league.
for his own
Love
media
you, Husey.
thing, man.
But he couldn't even compete because of the numbers that these guys were playing at, because so not only not only the biggest houses, but they're also north facing.
Mm-hmm.
So remember, north facing to the sun in the morning. It's
not facing is it, but that's what I mean. They're buying it to either auction it off, depreciation, write off. I don't know what they are, but they're not buying to live in it.
They got back.
Although Adrian, apparently, it has been said that he's potentially
thinking about
it. It's a pretty beautiful house.
Backyard areas. It gave a lot of good feedback. They're always looking for property that is lighter and brighter. This is Frank Valentic, who's also another regular on the block. Valentic. It was just, you were saying about his glasses choice.
Frank, dress your age, mate. Come on.
So yeah, it was
just joking. All right.
And also, so he also said, I spoke to Keith, the block foreman, and he was saying that this series definitely saw the best renovation finishes that he's seen on the block.
It looked good. It looked good. All right, we're actually way exceeding time on this segment. Let's wrap this up quickly. This took longer than I thought. Okay, Christy and Brett. I think let's just talk about this one, right? So give them, like, they were the series villains.
They're the villains because they were apparently set out to antagonize the other contestants to throw them off their game.
Yeah.
Which is like, I mean, it's a choice, but also like it's a game, right?
Yeah.
And she, I believe Christy was talking to Leah when they had their little argument, and like, you know, this is now fodder, but apparently took her off the camera and said, you know, the editors are going to play you this way and they're going to make it look like this. Do you want to look like this, et cetera, et cetera? And it's just like the mind games
I'm
here.
going to bring this back. Auction. Tell me the auction stuff.
Oh, I'm just giving context.
Like the context. I get it.
I'm giving the context.
The reserve was 2.9.
The reserve was 2.9. Now, this is the other thing. The reserve prices, there was this big hoo-ha about, oh, you don't need to say what your reserve price was to the public for some reason. Now, I don't know. It may have happened in
this was the most interesting one,
it may have been
right?
removed in the edit, etc.
Yeah.
But the auctioneer,
the realtor, the auctioneer,
he had said, oh, it's in the high twos. So the high twos could still be like, you know,
2.9s, 2.8s. What's high twos?
It could be even
over
2.6, right?
Yeah.
And the strategy was that they agreed upon was that, no, we will go for 3.2 as the starting price.
As in they wanted...
They wanted to beat the reserve.
The thing is, when we... Okay, like the main thing here is, like, as soon as Danny and Adrian were not bidding, the real market showed itself, right?
Yeah.
Which wasn't strong at all. And that's the main thing, right? So we had the past two couples coming with massive windfalls. So these guys are in, they're happy, they're excited, they're elated. Yes, we're going to get it. Surely they came in with nervousness. Maybe the market's dried up. But I did not think that they thought that it would fall flat like this, right?
And this came into the effect in figuring out the auction order as well, because no one wants to be first. No one wants to be last.
Well, Steph and Gian did. Well, but historically.
But based on the strength of the house, that they believed it, right, and backed themselves. So with these couples, 3, 4, and 5, the houses, it's kind of thinking like, well, if we've warmed up all of the, you know, the potential buyers, and also you got to remember as well, like, it's open to the general public, but you got to have a short list of X amount of buyers. I believe every house had like one buyer, but that was of interest. And this house in particular had one, but she fainted in like one of the first two houses. So she wasn't even there to kind of put the bid in, which is rough. Or was that house 4? No, Leah's house. Anyway, one of them, right? So you're going in there with high hopes, right? And then all of a sudden it just tanks completely, where it's apparently the whole tactic and strategy of hyping up the market did not work. And there was all this regulation as well, apparently, that you have to say it's on market and ready to sell. And the other piece is that if you've gone over your reserve price already, you can't pass in the property, right?
Yeah.
So they're stuck not at a great place with, I think, 67K was the profit out of it.
Yeah. They were like crestfallen. The couple of things come from this. One is, again, because of Adrian, because of Danny, they did not place a single bid on this one, right?
No,
so
not of interest.
Like an actual, not family, but like someone non those two bought it. So when they didn't, I think it's interesting because I don't recall the auctioneers basically saying having to say even the numbers or mid twos or even starting with any number,
but
because it was already started, the match was lit by
who knows, right? It's all in the edit, right?
Yeah.
But on top of that, I distinctly remember seeing the Consumer Affairs of Victoria there, and they were supposed to be there in all of the auctions because just making sure that it's all fair, right? So that's what the guy is saying, that he was pressured by to say that price. To say that the reserve price, the market, and everything, which went against the contestants' plan.
Look, this guy got a lot of flack, right? Like, he even had to respond on social media.
Flack.
The other thing that's just come to like consideration when I'm thinking about it, because this happened to Leah and Ash that sold it after the day of the auction. Is
Have they? I thought
they
haven't.
sold it. I think they got over like 120. Basically, very similar to Kyla and Leslie, like a little over 100K, right? So they got something, right? Is if the auctioneer knows the reserve and knows that they only make money past the reserve.
Yes.
He could have not accepted the 3 million, 3035, because that's what happened there, because it's too close to reserve.
Yeah.
Or he could have, if he was dynamic enough to know that it was getting to that point, he could have stopped it then and there.
Yeah.
Once he agrees to it, then it's sold.
Yeah.
So while there was a lot of it there, I think it's hard, man, because we're not in a position. I don't want to like throw anyone under the bus.
We don't know what really happened
Upon
because it could
consideration there, based on if you truly know what the outcome is there and you know that the market's a bit there, maybe you pick up the phone and you can stop the bidding, right? Like
surely you run on the premise of you got to service your clients, right? And just be in the, again, don't know what happened, right? It could all be, like created up to some kerfuffle, but it was quite sad actually, where Christy was like ending it off saying, well, Australia got what they wanted. Like it's pretty rough to be touted as the villain, but kind of made that choice too.
Hey man, they knew what they knew. I thought it was interesting that they said that they forego really high paying jobs to get it. Anyway, look, I'm going to cut this out because this section's way too long. Kyle and Leslie, Leah and Ash, they made over 100K. Good on them. I think the first three were really like the most sort of interesting. Well, the last one too, but section's way too long.
No, but remember the other piece is that Christy thought that she stuffed it up for the other houses because they're facing a similar predicament.
Correct. But again, to me, this whole goes for the part where it just seems like these auctions are now built around these mega bidders. That this is almost to be a manifestation of, when they say like, I hate saying this, but like overseas Chinese bidders come and bid like locals out of the market.
Yeah.
This is so much of a metaphor for me. Like you have two bidders that are going to easily always get, if they continually come, the best one. No Joe Blow can come and say, you know what, I saw this, I loved it, I'm gonna live here forever. It's gonna be my forever home there because it's so far out of it. And the irony is, like, this is gonna go to like charity. I don't know. Like I'm just disillusioned by the whole process. Anyway.
You know what? No, sorry. One other thing, right? Remember with Leah and Nash's house, apparently that Frank guy was saying it's like, like it's a steal, right? It's like, it's like 2 million for the
steal,
land.
but it's a steal that no one can afford.
And like 2.2 for the house, right? Like, which is nuts. But no one can afford
because the average price. You gotta cut this out. The average price of the houses there were around 1.5 or 1.8. So these reserves are huge to begin with because they're fitted.
But of the market, right?
Not the market, the amount of material. They're fitting, like you said, premium fixtures and stuff, right? They've got to make money on it. And Channel 9 has to make money off it too. Channel 9 goes in setting their reserves so they make a set. I'm pretty sure they make money, right? So it's not a charity. But anyway, all right, let's move on. Topic 2.
What are we talking about?
Optus, one of the biggest phone carriers in Australia.
Yep.
I mean, we were interstate. We're in the same state. We were outside of all sort of parameters when this struck me. Basically, is Optus the second biggest carrier? It's up there. It's a top 3 carrier in Australia, right? By virtue of like people that use it. The reception, cell service, internet, all down for almost the majority of the day. Huge. Massive. It just got you thinking how connected we are, right?
Oh, and how much dependent. You need, like, it's just the access, right? And it's hilarious. Remember Vodafone?
No, what's that? Oh, Vodafone had a similar thing too.
Yeah, like ages ago, and that's why they were saying, Vodafone.
Yeah.
And it's like, what's
what
actually happened for Optus? No.
Okay. So what actually happened?
What happened? So the outage basically started happening at 4 a.m. on Wednesday.
So early morning, right? Yep.
Yeah, early morning with all phones, text messaging, internet access, phone calls, all of it out, right? For all Optus customers. And what's really scary about that as well is that, you can't even make a call to 000 if you've got an emergency of some sort. Like, it's all completely out.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. That's huge, right?
Yeah.
That's massive. Yeah.
Like it's like when you really think about the need for connectedness at the base level in that instance, it's not great,
No.
right? So a whole lot of people experience some downtime, including yourself, with not being able to make calls. Like that was great.
You know what I thought was just like this, I don't know if this just happened to me, but what really wigged me out is we heard this on social media, right?
Yeah.
And it's just, we can talk about like the world of social media and how, like you said, when Vodafone happened, I don't know if there was that much of a kickback, but now we're all connected.
Yeah.
And we all need our phones, like it's a drug, to be online and pick up calls. But mine was saying full reception. And I heard a lot of people had SOS written on it, but I had a full bar of reception, could not call, could not receive. And ironically, it got fixed at the back end of that day, right?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock? To mine's got fixed earlier, right? So progressively, whatever.
Yeah.
But the next day, I can make calls, I can receive calls. Check this out. I can send text messages, but I can't receive it. I'm like, what the hell? Like, 98% of the service is working, but this 1% that I needed now.
This is Kevin's formal complaint to Optus.
I'm like, what is happening?
Checking
here?
into the ACCC and whatnot. Well, like you raised that point too.
It was nuts.
Speaking of connectiveness, there's even issues where people were talking about, like they couldn't even, in a cashless society where they're using their phone as the credit card, couldn't even do that.
Well, you should be able to use that without
no,
the app.
because you need the...
Do you?
Yeah, you do.
I'm pretty sure. Okay,
to make the transaction.
Yeah, if you don't have your debit card there, it's nuts to think you want to destabilize a country, take out the reception lines. What I mean is
don't give them that information. What are you talking about?
Who is them? Okay.
You don't know. People.
Oh
anyway.
my God. But okay, so what was here's the irony. What was the explanation of the issue by the Optus CEO?
Signal failure. That's all we got.
Come on.
The CEO, sorry, let me just get this up very quickly. It's her name is, one moment, caller.
Yep.
I'm having a technical outage myself. Optus chief executive Kelly Bayer Rosmarin said it's too technical to explain what happened, but the company would offer a full explanation once it got down to the root cause of the issue, reported by John Davidson in the Financial Review.
I kind of felt like bad for her because this is clearly not of her doing. She's the CEO, so you kind of got to copy it. Like, I really don't think there could have been any explanation that people would have bought anyway. Seriously, my towers are down. We got hacked by the Chinese. There's no explanation that people will accept, right?
It's a big inconvenience. You're not going to accept it, right? We're talking about from the people point of view, but we've got businesses that are connected. Apparently,
the AirPods terminals are down.
Even the Victorian government apparently have contracts with Optus, and they're reviewing it at the moment. There's a whole lot of stuff that Optus is facing at the moment, including even the cyber attack from last year.
So this is the thing. They had the data breach. They've had this. Their reputation's taken a hit. This is sensationalized as only not Australian media, all media can do. People I saw on the news, were going to Optus stores and harassing the owners of them. Bro, they don't know. Their reception's down too, okay? They're just franchisees. Just relax. I get it. I really do get it.
Yeah, it's that warped reality of people where they just need to complain. Yeah. They just listen to me.
What do you think is going to happen? Take a bloody chill pill. Go to Vodafone around the line and get a new fucking contract.
Just do it.
if you're really concerned about it. But look, a lot of people are asking for
some level of good compensation, right?
Compensation.
And what they're getting is extra data to the value of $100.
I'm sorry, that's bullshit. That's nuts. Seriously.
But they can't, this is the thing. Obviously you want some level of compensation.
You want money back.
As in money back. But that figure can't be you won't even, if they give you $5, would you be happy with $5 back? Because that's all it's actually going to be. If you think about your bill cycle, it's probably even less. Let's be real. It's going to be $1.33.
Maybe I would. I don't know. But I think they've got to give something back. Data, and that's a commodity. I don't know how many people actually use their data.
The full extent of data.
That's why they're giving it. What else could they possibly give? I'm sorry, I want money back because there was a point in time where I had to use the service.
Could not do his business.
And you couldn't do the business. It's a really sucky sort of situation, but I don't know, man. Like I'm a bit jaded because like I think this is to me like Qantas. We discovered that some of these brands are too big to fail. Like they're gonna go on. Like I didn't even remember that they had the data breach, and I've been you know what I mean? Like it's just a news cycle thing. It really sucks. There's apparently like murmurings that this breach could happen again. Duh. It could happen to anything, by the way. Like Vodafone's pretty shitty with their reception too. I think the only one that I've heard is the best is like Telstra.
Yeah.
And you pay a premium for it.
that.
Like they know it. Optus is probably as like economically value efficient as you get. Like I'm with Tangerine. Like all of these white label brands are piggybacked.
Circles.
Yeah, Circles. Sorry. Yes, Circles. They're piggybacked off Optus, right? Yeah. So too big to fail, but it doesn't look good to them. And like it's just interesting in this social media generation how it's so. Yeah, it was a big thing to not be connected for a long period of time. And the irony is for a lot of people, it would be the internet versus calls. But like, yeah, the call stuff was really important, obviously, like emergencies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They should be, I don't know, like every time I propose solutions, like clearly there's smarter people than us there. Like I would like to think that a triple O or an emergency button should be, even in event of that, like universal. Clearly it's not that simple. Otherwise,
different numbers for different countries. But I get what you mean. It's just how do you create that infrastructure so that it's scalable in that way?
Indeed.
Don't know. Maybe it's in a different phone or something.
No Optus. No Optus.
Oh, okay. All right.
Anyway, let's move on to the next topic. I just had a burp over there. Actually, we got this good cookie, man. It was really good. Okay, the third GOP debate happened earlier this week.
Here we
go. We haven't talked about our boy Vivek.
Vivek Watch 2023.
2024 is all going to be about Vivek Watch until he just loses steam and like it gets to the Trump.
All right, what did the boy do?
The boy came out swinging. So obviously the third GOP debate. And look, we had like a chat about this, but it's, again, social media, like your ability to reach an audience and connect to an audience, especially, look, our generation, a lot of people, I'm not saying everyone.
Sorry, excuse me.
I'm boring you that much.
No, sorry.
They're not going to look at a whole 1 hour, 40 minutes, that's how big it is, debate, right? They're not going to look at it, right?
It's the snippets.
Correct. So your ability to like communicate your likeness or your proposition or your brand, which for a lot of these people, it's kind of what it is.
Oh, it's relatability, even at the base level, right?
Is condensed in sound bites. It really is condensed in sound bites. And obviously Vivek came out with the strong, he came out swinging, right, effectively. But people are going to talk about he had a lot of exchanges with Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley, like by all pundits in the second GOP debate, she really came out strong, won a lot of backing, and it's just fascinating just to see the coverage here.
So hold on, just quickly on that. So we're saying that it's a considered approach to actually go against that, like...
I don't know, but like we talked about this, like Trump, like for the Republicans is clearly up ahead. He just is with all the controversy, even though it's not 100% like
90 plus criminal charges.
Confirmed that he can. Is it when will we know for sure that they can actually run with all these charges pending? Anyway, question mark. Let's just say it there. Even with all that looming over, he's still well ahead in Republican.
It's ridiculous.
So these guys are fighting for second in command, really, or first in command should Trump stumble for whatever legal sort of reason.
That would be interesting.
So really, right now, it's a 3-horse race between Nikki Haley, DeSantis, right?
DeSantis.
And Vivek, right? I think the numbers still have Ron DeSantis there. I don't know where Nikki Haley...
Florida.
Nikki Haley ranks there. And I think Vivek is still the upstart, right? There. Yeah. But in terms of the 3 debates that we've had, these 3 are clearly separating. They already separated themselves from the pack, right? The first GOP debate was Vivek's introduction for a lot of people to the American, and if not the world, really, right?
Yeah,
the world.
yeah.
Like for a lot of people, right? The first GOP debate, at least for the Republicans, was an introduction of who these candidates are, right? Yep. So second, he was a bit docile, a little bit more muted, and a lot of people were saying, look, how can you start off that strong, like, and do that? And the third, he clearly heard that, or he got revved up. So to answer your question specifically, I don't know if it was a concerted attack on Nikki Haley, but they had a lot of interchange and exchanges with obviously Dick Cheney and 9-inch heels, 7-inch heels, whatever. That was the sound bite that a lot of people were like, "That's really good. That's a bar." like a lot of people like that. But
I love how how was it Vivek was saying like, oh, like it was like 3-inch heels or something, and then she was like, sorry, it's like 6 or something.
she was correcting on it,
yeah.
and she's like, "I wear them because of protection or for
Like
as a weapon.
they're not for fashion.
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
ammunition.
Ammunition. That's the one.
What does that mean? I'm sorry, girl. What does that mean?
Well,
you think you ate that? Like,
okay,
I don't know what that means.
So here's the interesting one, right? So they were talking about a lot of topics. Obviously, the war between Israel and Hamas came up as well. And I think of all the three GOP debates, this was probably the most structured in terms of like there was still the talking over each other and still the cutting off, but it just, I think, third time's a charm. You've done it 3 times. You probably get over this name call. There were elements of that as well.
Got to get the people going.
That's always going to happen. But yeah, Vivek came out. He basically came out attacking the media, the interviewers, claiming that,
CNN.
CNN specifically, claiming that Joe Rogan, Elon Musk, and who is the other one? I can't remember. Carl, I can't remember. But basically, he is an anti-establishment guy, right?
Yep.
He's not cut from that cloth. He is a businessman, and that's his whole shtick, right? Against neocons. So he really basically reaffirmed his position and doubled down on it by attacking sort of everyone, effectively a mirror of what he did in the first debate, which he kind of took a pedal off and was returned to form of the Vivek we loved. But I think what was interesting is
Tucker
Carlson. Yeah. Ugh. Anyway, so that was that. But I thought what was interesting was the divergent schools of thought between the current conflicts in Ukraine and Russia, obviously, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of the other candidates, sans Vivek, or they're basically in the school of thought of supporting basically Ukraine, solidarity in Ukraine, in the way that they're currently doing it now, which is the proxy warfare that they're fighting, and the resources that they're giving. However, Vivek's stance is quite different in that he wants to support, but not at that same sort of level. So his view is to ensure that America is all under control first, and that doesn't necessarily mean fighting proxy wars there. So
don't get involved in other people's business if you don't need to get involved.
Well, you're seeing here, and like to the Nikki Haley point again, we can't really speak on it because this is just our perspective as Australians that are watching it here. That I'm not saying they're for war or anything, but like there are a lot of very strong adjectives used when it comes to like war and America's role as the purveyor of peace, right? Like Captain America and all that sort of stuff, right?
For justice,
and the position,
free speech,
and the position that they need to play and the resources there, because a lot of America's, GDP and debt and all that stuff is tied in the industrial complex, which is war.
Yeah.
Which is the war, and there are arguments for both sides, but I think this is going to be a very interesting one, just for Vivek to cut through the bone and say a stance which is probably not something that we have seen any other prospective American candidate do so. It is very different, and it is very like bold. I'm not saying it's right, I'm not saying it's wrong, but I'm saying it's a real key differentiator, because if you believe in that, you don't believe America should be fighting the wars and having such a, everyone knows what it is, the proxy war.
Based on it's just predicated based on the history of kind of the red, white, and blue, right? Where there is so much kind of story within the wars that are being had. And it's just like it's the right thing to do.
Yes.
Whereas it feels like from a Vivek point of view, he's very much speaking on the fact of, like, I'm a business, man. Like, got to think about it. Like, we can't be putting that much money into here, because is that the right use of money that we should be spending?
You're right. Going after the establishment. And I can't help think that, like, look, whatever happens, like, people know about him now, right? Definitely more than before.
Yeah.
And he's just going to be put under that bracket of that progressive that just has weird, like out of the box ideas. Oh, he's a CEO. He's 38. He's probably underqualified. But if I'm 30s and he's a breath of fresh air.
It's the changing
very
of
different.
the guard.
Yeah. Yeah, like we talked about it, but I think it is a longer play to potentially get in the Trump administration until I see, or appease the MAGA voters in Trump and see if he can kind of get that sway. But he's coming with very different projections and ideals, and none of this was, again, very interesting because they spoke about. I think the other thing that I found really interesting, I can't remember because I listened to all of it in its entirety, and it's very hard to like keep notes there, is that the moderators and the speakers, they're hell-bent on getting the question answered. Duh. But what I mean is at the expense of hearing, a lot of these questions are going to have nuanced answers.
100%.
It's not going to be a black and white yes or
and
no.
And also, sorry, the other thing I couldn't help but notice when I was tuning into a little bit of it,
tuning out,
was the fact that it's predicated on the order, right, of who gets to speak on that question, and everyone gets a chance to speak on that question. Yeah. And of course, you're not going to repeat the same thing that somebody said because
a lot of them sounded the same.
Because it looks like you agree with them.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean? Like the funniest question to me was the one is like, oh, why should it be you instead of Donald Trump? And it's just the different angles that people try to get into.
Well,
hilarious.
For a lot of those guys, their PR firms or whatever are hearing that, right?
Oh, yeah.
But it was, and the reason I say that is I can't remember which one it was, but they were talking about the aged pension and raising the working age, right?
Yeah.
And I remember whatever, like what's your view on it? What would your view it, right? And I remember the candidates, the journalists, they were pressing on an answer because, and like it's it's not, hey, it's.
Do you think they weren't prepared for they were like, oh shivers, we
no,
weren't
but
prepared for that question.
I think that's just the nuance of.
You don't want to say something that's so.
Yeah. Well, firstly, if you're a candidate. If you're a presidential candidate, your job is to know a little bit of everything, but your economists are going to do that. Your actuaries are going to have to do that. You can't, and if you say something, just like what happened in Australia in the RBA, where Philip Rose said something and he took it back, you can't say with definity things because it's on tape. There are receipts everywhere now.
Yeah.
We're in the social media generation. It's just going to make you look bad. So you can't say, hey, I'm going to raise it from, I don't know what it is, 85 to 87. That's because you just don't know. There's nuances within it. You've got to explain your general concept on it. But what I'm saying is
it's only in a short finite amount of time.
And they have it's a short amount of time.
The fact that one of the other candidates was constantly just getting cut off, from a time point of view. It's that's high pressure.
It was interesting. The TikTok one was really interesting as well. The exchange between Vivek and Nikki Haley, where basically they were presented with what would you do with TikTok if you were. I love how they call it commander in chief. It's such a war, like if you were commander
in chief.
Yeah, just call it president, mate. Like what commander? You're already talking about war. Like that's a war.
That's what it is. It's 100% double downing on this notion of. We are the home of the brave.
Anyway, it was interesting. So yeah, sorry, back to it. Obviously Vivek is on TikTok. He's with Jake Paul, whatever, one of the Pauls, and it was doing weird ass little dance. So he went to. So
he did.
He did. Yeah, I'm sure you've seen this.
Wow.
We did a short on it anyway.
No, that was the Eminem one.
No. He did it with one of the twins. It was pretty cringe. But anyway, so all of them were anti-TikTok. If I come in, it's got to go. The short elevator pitch.
Yep.
Where Vivek was like, I feel like this was almost a trap because he couldn't say no because he's on TikTok. Because if he says no, then you're a hypocrite.
You're on TikTok. You're effectively going against what your stance is. So I
almost don't know if this was a trap. But he kind of weaved it in a way politicians do, that it's not only about TikTok, it's about American companies that give information and send information to China. And clearly that's it's interesting because there's so many wars happening now. I don't know if we're just more attuned to it because we're researching on the podcast, but the Ukraine and Russia stuff has been happening for a while now.
The world is shit. That's the headline that we're going with, right?
We're living in a very very interesting age where I think, especially America, is attuned to the fact that like I don't know what a new world war would look like, but I feel like we're going through a version of that with like AI and all that. Like it's just in a very different way.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
not going to be. It's going to be a lot of spy games. But anyway, look, I don't know where that rabbit hole came from. But look, Vivek, run of form. He's come back. We're back, baby. Vivek watch 2023, 2024. It's going to be good, boy. It's going to be good.
All right.
Boy. Vivek, man, just come on the show.
Wow. Wow. See, Kat, look, you leave for one day
My boy.
and all this is happening now. Okay. All right.
All right, what's happening? You had this segment.
Let's go to the most popular election of this week,
What?
which is People's Sexiest Man of the Year. Pew pew pew.
You're talking to it.
pew. Okay, now. All right. Okay.
All right,
know, comes-
what's going on? Who is this by?
comes-
Is this by
comes-
GQ? Who is this by? Esquire?
People magazine.
People is not like. Ugh.
It's an institution. They double down on this every year to remain relevant, but arguably, maybe they've made the wrong call. But also, there's a whole myriad of reasons. Now, if you think, I'll ask you the
Is
question.
Vivek on it?
Oh no! Think of 2023. Think of the year that's gone by.
What's the criterion? Just apart from good-looking guys, like it's not only about looks, right? It's about like obviously it is.
I love that you think there's actually a criteria that's based on it. Like,
It's just for thirsty girls, just getting their and thirsty dudes. Some thirsty dudes out there.
okay, what is your top three sexiest men of the year?
You know, okay. The thing is, usually, I need to know the criteria because you know you get the same old list. You know, George Clooney, Ryan Gosling. Say it's the same old dudes, bro. But I would think they'd have to be dudes that are active this year, right? On the scene or whatever it is. Can you just give me a clue that they're all actors?
Well, the one that gets the cover is an actor.
Okay,
Yeah.
Ryan Gosling's there, yeah.
So you think Ryan Gosling is up there? Okay.
Yeah, I think he's up there. Sexiest man, The Rock. I feel like you're.
By the way, I totally missed my point that I was going to say in the previous section.
Yeah.
Like, watch for The Rock to ascend all of a sudden into like put his
He's
hand
not
in the
going to
ring.
be in the debate. No way. Okay, so my top three is Ryan Gosling, The
Yeah.
Rock. Who was active this year? Oh, that pretty boy with the hair, the one that we said would play Sam Rackman-Fried.
Oh, Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
All right.
Okay. Fair
Oh,
enough.
that was a good one. All right, that was a good.
That's an okay one, I guess.
Okay, so who is it actually?
So, 2023, Sexiest Man Alive.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's Sexiest Man Alive.
Why? Because they might be dead. That's a bit
Is
morbid.
no other than.
Wait. Could you go 3 to 1? Is it in
Well,
order?
I'm trying to find a list at the moment, and it's like the.
You prepared this segment and you don't have a list.
Well, because there's just the main one that you think of,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, go on.
The one that gets the front cover is where you want to be. There's
Sure.
a whole list of other
Oh, okay,
guys
yep.
that come through in each of the on the different pages, etc. But this year's 2023 Sexiest Man Alive is throwback to bloody 2014 or whatever year it was.
Yeah.
Patrick Dempsey.
Oh, dude.
Now,
Since when?
now
He hasn't done anything this year.
he hasn't done anything.
fuck?
100%. So the
That's why I asked, what's the
the
criteria?
I don't know what the
Not even
criteria
any voted.
is.
Some thirsty editors that
It's
had
not-
their
it's-
Grey's Anatomy's
okay,
face.
So the conjecture about this is that obviously
I think I heard about this actually.
people's man like any type of list of that has got to have some level of
Older men?
publicity that needs to happen, right? So, and in light of the strike that was taking place, which is now
What,
officially
because-
ended, woo, that means the belief is that certain actors can actually say no to doing the fodder of publicity because they're under strike. So they can't talk about their projects. They can't unless they've got interim agreement and permission to do so, right? Because it's based on like if they're in an independent production company or whatever it is, their film that they're doing. So Patrick Dempsey, I can't even remember the bloody film he was like he's actually in. He's actually going to be in an upcoming movie.
Dude, he hasn't done anything this year, man.
But genuinely, that's the only reason why he's gotten it. Like, people do say that he has been overdue.
Overdue for what?
McDreamy in the Sun back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day, not now.
The day.
That's why I'm saying, like, if you're doing it every year, you have to do like men that are like, otherwise it'll be the same dudes over and over again that are in the news sphere, have done works of art.
They literally know what they're doing. They literally said worth the wait on their article of like that he's going to be that he's the sexiest man alive.
Sure, if you like.
Yeah, like it's a long time coming. He's had a prolific career, undeniable good looks. He's an obvious choice. And here's the kicker. But the superstar admits he didn't see it coming. I was completely shocked. And then I started laughing. Like, is this a joke?
It is a joke.
You know why? Because basically, let's be real. There are so many men that have said no. And it's like, nah, I don't want to do it. Pedro Pascal for crying out loud.
So they can say no.
Surely. It's all about the PR piece.
Okay. All right. Like, who else is there? I can't take this seriously.
I'm trying to see who else there. I'm just looking at all of his photo shoots right now, and it's kind of like,
Patrick
wow.
Flemsy.
Flemsy, wow.
I'm so jaded by this.
It's a bit interesting.
I'm sorry. This is just, I can't take this seriously.
Well,
People's Magazine, you can't take seriously. Esquire, maybe. GQ.
Wow.
GQ guys would want to be in GQ.
Wow. Okay, let me find this list very quickly. Well, this is a reader's choice, which is not accurate. Like, we've got people like James Marsden.
What the hell is that?
We've got okay, so they've got different categories, right? So sexiest TV star is James Marsden.
Who's that?
Bloody Cyclops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good chin. Yeah, I get it.
Sexiest blockbuster star,
Yep.
Chris Hemsworth.
Sure.
Sexiest athlete, surprise, surprise, Travis Kelce.
Oh, yes, I heard about this. Bro, you must have.
Sexiest musician, Harry Styles, R.I.P. His luscious locks. That actually.
I'm sorry, mate. This list is lacking a bit of color for me.
It's lacking a bit
It's
of.
really lacking a bit of color for me. Sorry.
They've got a category called Sexiest Pedro Pascal. Dog Dad Pedro Pascal.
Internet daddy rules, man. Pedro, it should have been Pascal to begin
And then
with.
even this one is Sexiest Ken, and of course, let's be real, it's Ryan.
You got your Ken look, by the way. Looks good.
Thank you. Simu was also on the list of
Sexiest ethnic.
Well, gotta represent, mate. Represent, 100%.
Aye.
But yeah, like I'm trying to find a list of other people. They're really just focusing on the guy.
Listen.
It's
Don't worry about it. As soon as you said Patrick Dempsey was in it, like it's lost all credibility. I'm sorry.
I just like okay. Going back to your list, right? Because
Vivek Ramaswamy.
No. Because, like you said, right? So you based it purely on who do you think would get the girls going? Yeah.
No. Okay.
And then what's your rubric?
Sorry. You know what?
What?
Fuck this shit, man.
Oh, here we
Let's
go.
do our sexiest 2023 guys, right?
Yeah.
Why am I doing 2023? Actually, you do it. Come on, really quick. Don't spend. No. I'm gonna give you. I'm gonna. Why would I do it? I'm gonna give you the 3 categories, right?
All right, let's go.
So I'm gonna say. Let me just write this right. Okay. Okay. Well, sexiest sports star of this year. So that means they have to have done something. You know what I mean? In the news sphere.
I don't know any.
Just come on. Just name record. Say LeBron James.
Only just because
Tennis players. Come on. Think. Come on.
there is no cute tennis players anymore. I'm gonna go with something wild and just say bloody Daniel Ricciardo.
Yeah, if you like blockchains. All right, sure. Okay, cool.
Wow.
That's cool. He was in the news for like losing his seat. So that's
like I don't know sports.
Okay, that's fine. All right. Sexiest TV actor.
Sexiest TV actor. Oh no.
2023.
Oh, Pedro. No, Pedro.
Okay.
Pedro.
Sexiest movie actor 2023.
Sexiest movie actor. No, Ryan Gosling. Yeah, 100%.
Fuck this guy, bro. Okay. Sexiest man 2023.
Sexiest man 2023.
Can't be any of those 3.
Why can't it be?
Well,
Surely it
don't want
can be, right?
I don't want double dipping. Go on.
Oh, look. I don't think that. How do I say this? No, it probably would have to be. I don't.
Kevin Hart, move on.
No, like maybe Harry.
I'm done.
He had a big year.
I'm done. What did he do? What did Harry Styles do?
He bloody had an affair with like.
Okay, you know what? I'm not gonna. I'm done. We're done. This episode's done.
And then he shaved his head.
All right, it's a good episode. Good episode, guys. As soon as I had Patrick Dempsey, I'm like, this is.
It's random,
I can't
right?
believe I QC'd this. Can't believe this.
And
one got
then
through.
nothing works.
Nothing works. Guys, if you like the podcast, give us a thumbs up. Leave some comments below. Subscribe. You didn't see
Tell your friends.
Tell all your friends.
Who's your sexiest man alive?
Who's your sexiest man alive?
Drop a comment in.
See you next week.
Bye.
Peace.